Hi, welcome back to a boat called Wanda. Today what I wanted to do is start working on the hull beneath the waterline. So now that I'm coming to the end of the work to the inside of the shell, I can now start looking at that. So far Anthony's been doing all of the work to the top sides, which was quite a significant piece of work and quite a skilled piece of work as well, requiring a lot of skill to get that top side looking good. Beneath the waterline it's a little bit more forgiving, so I'm going to start working on that and perhaps have a go at applying some laminate and doing some fairing and sanding of that as well. So first step is to start grinding back under the waterline where there's some localized areas of impact or where there's been some filler applied. I need to get that filler removed so that we can look at what's underneath it. And where they've just filled in a dish with a lot of filler, that will be instead laid up with laminate and then fed. So that's a part of the project that I'm working on next, and I'm going to start that now. So let's get started. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the progress I'm up to with this work on the hull beneath the waterline, that is. So it's looking quite patchy at the moment, as you can see, but there is a method behind all of this patchiness. This is the work that I did yesterday. I just ground this back. There's quite a large indentation here, and this corresponds to the heads on the other side of the shell down the bottom where there was that puncture mark, and we ground that back. So this is the corresponding side on the outside of the hull. We're now doing the same thing, so it's sort of sandwiched on either side. There's built up laminate on both sides of this little impact. So perhaps this was like a little rock or something if Wanda was beached and lying on her side. Moving down the hull then, beneath the waterline, the next thing we come to is this thing here, which is quite ugly. It looks like it was a previous repair. You can see there's a difference here in colour of the resin, and this is incredibly uneven. It's sort of, there's an indentation there, and it comes back out, and then it goes back. So it's difficult to know what this was for or what the idea of the repair was, but basically there was just a heap of filler here, and the filler looks like this pink stuff up here. So this was just one big massive pink filler, and when I ground that away, this is what we're left with. So I think this needs to be dished out into a hollow dish and then laid up with laminate to strengthen this, because this looks quite bad here. On the other side of the shell is where the stringer is, so when we were working from the insides we didn't really see anything because it would have been hidden behind that stringer. That's the second stringer down. Okay, so moving back along, there's this next area here. This is just quite a deep indentation. Again, almost as if it's run up against a rock or something that's sort of ground away into this. So we need to take this back again into a sort of dish-shaped, feathered area to lay up. Underneath here, one more area that's quite hollowed out. Corresponding on the other side of the shell is an area that we laid up with additional matting. So again, we've worked from the inside and now we need to work from the outside. Then right on the waterline, there's all this filler here that we saw before when we did the initial inspections, and that seems to be a couple of areas here. So one area there, you can see, let me try and get the outline, there we go. You can see that outline of pink filler, and then a second one here, and you can see here it's actually, where it's chipped away, it's quite deep. So we want to get all of that filler out, because there's no point in just putting filler back, painting it up, and then, you know, having a bit of a bump at some point in the future and have all of that just flaking out with the nice new paint on it. So that needs to come back. And the same with back here. There's another area which you can see, which is all that pink filler. So actually there's two different types of material here. There's this pink filler and then there's this white material. So, and they join here. The white material might be more of an epoxy type filler that they've used. But you can see this is just all going to crack away, flake away. So I need to work on that with the grinder. Okay, well here we are at the end of my day, and it's been quite productive. So as you saw earlier, I started to grind back this sort of area below the waterline where I could see the pink fella, which looks like that there. And I discovered like quite a few patches of what looks like just almost pure resin, like this. So obviously somebody's done a repair job before. They've put in this resin. I think Anthony said it might be P45 or something. It's just a resin that's got some sort of filling compound in it. And it's incredibly uneven, really, really poorly done. And that's why there was so much filler to try and get some shape, because it's all absolutely undulating and uneven. So anyway, I was working on that, and then Anthony came in and gave me a hand, and we sort of blitzed it in the afternoon. And now it's all marked up, ready for laminating. We've got a little numbering system there. We've got 9, 10, 11. So we've got 11 patches in total to lay up, laminate. I mean, it's a bit of a bugger. It's so much additional work to do. You know, we've been focusing on the top sides up there for the last few weeks. But really, I mean, it had to be done. There was so much thick filler along this waterline here that we kind of had a feeling there was something pretty ugly beneath all of it. And sure enough, here it is. And it just really confirms my suspicions that Wanda had actually broken free of her moorings at some point and then ended up beached somewhere on her side. And you can see by all the filler down the bottom there of the keel and all these sort of repair patches along the waterline that these are the two areas that would have been basically lying on the beach if she was lying on her side. And I guess any coral or rocks would have just been grinding into that fiberglass. And so somebody at some point has just decided to put some sort of epoxy type filler in there to cover over the gouges, and then, you know, up to 5 or 6 mil of filler to try and get some shape back, when really it should have been laminated to start with. What they should have done is exactly what we're doing now, which is scalloping out all of those areas, sort of dishing them out, and then putting in new matting, laying it back up, and then fairing it from there. So that's what we're doing. So tomorrow we should be able to come in here and then start applying the laminate. Okay, well that's it for today. Okay, well, we had a very productive day today. We're able to actually apply all of this laminate to the areas along the hull that's needed to be repaired. What you can see at the moment is just the peel ply, which is a light material covering each of those that gives it a better texture. So we will remove that once it's set on Monday. So it looks like a piece of modern art at the moment, with all these squiggles and designs. They're basically the contours of the laminate that we're using. And you can see there's a numbering system here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we've got 9, 10, 11. So we did these as 11 sections, some of them which are bridged over by a larger piece. And that counts 11 sort of localized areas where there was some sort of damage, some degree of damage that's had some new laminate applied to it. Yeah, so there we go. So this was basically done in 2 days. 1 day to grind out all of these areas, and then 1 day to laminate. So I feel pretty good about that, but the bottom line is that's just a very small part of the process, because what will be most time consuming now is all the fairing and sanding that has to be done to get these filled in and get a good hull shape back to them. But I actually feel really relieved now, because I know that whatever the cause of this damage was, the repair job that we've done now is actually what should have been done initially. Like, this is properly repaired now, so I'm really confident in the integrity of this hull. Like, it suffered some damage, but it's been repaired to a top standard, and it's as structurally sound, if not more structurally sound, than when she came out of the mould in 1989. So it's a good relief. I know that I've done everything properly, and we've not sort of skimmed over anything. Everything that we looked at was properly investigated. We ground back everywhere that there was filler. I'm really happy that I've had the chance to do the right thing by Wanda and have her repaired correctly to best practice.